is an immigrant role model and the oldest living family matriarch in the Indianapolis Chinese American community. This is Phoebe Jung. Sharing the story of her amazing mother is Vicky Ko. Hi everyone, I don't have any script, but I'm just going to tell stories. There's so many outstanding people here being honored, and after everybody's accomplishment, I can't say what my mom could compare all of you. But one thing she did that you guys can't top her, she lived to 103 years old. And then you might wonder, how did she end up in Indianapolis? Well, I guess I started with my dad then. My dad was 10 years older than my mom, so he was born in 1901. And then goes back, and when he was about 15 years old, he came with an uncle to Chicago. Of course, a typical Chinese profession, laundromat, Chinese laundry. And then a little later, he came to Indianapolis as a waiter. And at the only Chinese restaurant in Indianapolis at the Circle was called Bamboo Inn. So he worked there, and there's a couple, Dr. and Mrs. Pell, and they would come all the time, and they really liked my dad and really encouraged him to learn English well and get an education. So he started working, so he went to church and found his religion, he loved God, and also learned English there. And then I don't know how he worked and how he got through high school and went to college for a few years. And then he finally went to Bloomington, and cut the story short, so in 1936, he got his PhD in chemistry, in organic chemistry. And during that time, he would hitchhike back to Indianapolis every weekend to make his living. And Dr. and Mrs. Pell would always give him a $1 tip. That's a lot of money back then. So that was 1936, and during Depression and all that, and he wanted to go back to China. So he was back in China, and let me see, some friends tried to introduce him to my mom, and my mom went to a missionary school, and she learned English, and so she was only, even at her young age, she was only 4 feet 10. She said, I'm not going to get married unless he's tall. My dad's about 6 feet tall. And he has to speak English, the Chinese speak English. And he has to be a Christian, do not smoke, do not dance, and blah, blah, blah. So when she was 27, she was still an old maid. Confirmed old maid. While her mom was trying to marry her off since 15, 16, telling how rich this landlord is and all that. So she got so fed up, she went to Shanghai, joined her uncle, and just ran away, literally. So my dad showed up. She waited long enough, she got what she wanted. So got married and had kids and all that. So we lived in Canton, like we knew everybody, like Amy's parents were good friends of my parents, and so it goes way back. So it was a wonderful life, and then continued to have, marry, have 5 children, and then it gets to the 50s. They are very, very devoted to the church, and it was getting a little more pressure for going to church. And so she said, well, it's time to get out. So she managed and orchestrated the whole exodus for the whole family to Hong Kong, where her parents were retiring in Hong Kong. We used to go to Hong Kong every summer, but it was getting harder and harder. So she got all of us one by one to Hong Kong. And when my dad got to Hong Kong, his roommate at IU found out he's out of China. Right away, he sent $1,000. And That's a lot of money again in the 1960. So Dr. Pell passed away, and Mrs. Pell was still living. So he ordered his son-in-law and daughter to say, "You got to get David back here." So he found a sponsor from IU, and at that time my dad was 60 years old already. So IU hired him. I don't know why or how, but anyway, he was hired by IU at age 60, and IU even loaned us a fare, the whole family, 7 of us, to come back. So my dad started life all over again at age 60, and with 5 children, none of us spoke English. And my mom had to manage, the everyday life, and she drove my dad to work every day. My dad didn't want to drive at 60. My mom did. So my dad continued to work for 10 more years and retired as emeritus professor at IU. So behind every great man, there's a great woman. That's my mom. So there she is. But she would not give a speech, but her great-granddaughter Jasmine would say a few words. So we like to, I know if she's here, she would say thank God for His abundant blessing on her and her family, and thank IDAT for the great honor. Thank you, everyone.
That's great.
So I think we should have one more round of applause for all of our